How's it going? It's Nasty T, and this is another episode of the Optimal Class series. Today we're going to be talking about the Honey Badger Assault Rifle. We're going to get into the strengths, the weaknesses, and then the optimal class build. First, a little overall look at this weapon. This is kind of the gun I use when it's time to get down to business. When I'm playing with a higher skill cap of people, whether it's clan v clan or I'm playing with people in a lobby where I'll look at their KD and it's a lot of guys with like a 1.5 to 2.5, or if I've played with players in a lobby for a long time and they get a couple chem strikes, they're doing very well, calling in big kill streaks, I understand, okay, time to step it up and kind of have a class that stops what some elite players do. So let's get into the strengths of this weapon. One, this gun has a very good RPM, so you can play a little bit more aggressive. If you can get closer to players that use weapons like the Remington and AK, you're going to have an advantage there because this gun is in the top half of RPM for assault rifle, so that's very big. Another plus, this gun has a pretty good iron sight. In Ghost, that's kind of an issue. There's a lot of weapons with unusable iron sights, so that's a plus on the attachments. Another plus, it has a built-in silencer. It's the only assault rifle. There's one submachine gun, one assault rifle, and one sniper rifle with a silencer built in this game, and this is the one with the assault rifle, so that makes it very good. Another strength of this weapon is very broad, but it just doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. It's kind of the jack of all trades. Guns like the Remington have a lot of range and don't have a lot of recoil, and they're not great up close because of the low RPM. Other guns like the FAD are nuts up close. They struggle at range because of the recoil. Every gun kind of has its give and take. This is middle of the road for a lot of things. It has a little bit of recoil. It has the silencer built in that's huge, and it's a little bit higher on the RPM range than average for assault rifles, so it lets you kind of play a little more aggressively, move around a little bit more. So that being said, let's move on to the weaknesses. Probably the biggest weakness for this gun, and I've tried to explain this a few times, I've had to do a couple takes. There's it's view kick. It's what I call when I'm sitting there shooting at someone kind of medium to long range away, this gun kicks a lot. The gun's going everywhere. And that is an issue, but I have realized if I kind of just keep shooting bullets towards the person, keep trying to aim, trying to control that recoil, I do oftentimes kill the person. So it's a lot of just view kick, where the gun's moving everywhere, but the bullets are pretty much going where I need them to go. And that's sort of a mental thing I had to get over, because at first I wasn't very good with the Honey Badger. I know it's a pretty popular weapon, I see a lot of people use it, and that was a big issue. So overcoming that little obstacle, it sounds minute and not like a big deal, but if you do get into a level with some people that do play defensively and they don't play very aggressive, that can be a little bit of an issue, so mastering that's very big. Another thing on the weakness, it does have a little bit of a higher RPM, so you are prone to run out of ammunition because in Ghost you only get 3 clips, so that's 90 bullets, so we're going to remedy that with some attachments and perks, and let's get into the optimal class build. Like I said, you do have a little problem with kick, a lot of it's view kick, but this gun, it does help to have the grip on. Extended mag, because like I said, you have a higher RPM if you play a little more aggressively. You're kind of spitting out bullets a little bit more. That extended mags helps. It ups it from 30 to 45 in your clip. That gives you an extra 45 bullets off the top from the 3 full clips they give you at the beginning of your life. Lethal, we have the C4. That is the best explosive. Very good for domination, throwing it on a flag. Going to perks, we have quick draw and focus, ready up and focus, because it never hurts to get, back up to shooting after sprinting, and focus because when you're in those medium range gunfights, if you get hit, you don't want your gun to kick up. Pretty much have that on every class. Dead silence, because like I said, if you're playing with better players, they probably are going to have amplify and dead silence on a lot of the time. So that's very good to have. If you don't have dead silence and you're playing against a lot of people with headsets that are pretty good, you are digging yourself a huge hole that's very hard to get out of. Scavenger, like I said, you're going to run out of ammunition a little bit more because of the higher RPM, so Scavenger is very key. Pretty much got to have that on this gun. And then lastly, I do have Stalker on. Quick Draw, you could probably swap it out for, but I really like Stalker a lot. It's partly because of my playstyle. If you've ever seen me play, I pre-aim around corners a lot. That's a big thing on what I do. And I just like it because I've said this a couple times in the video. It's more of an offensive weapon. You have that higher RPM, so you can aggressively go around corners, more than you could with guns like the Remington and AK because you're saved by that quicker RPM. You can spit out damage a little bit quicker. So I play pretty aggressively with this weapon. I take a lot of corners, and pre-aiming around is just a good thing to do because if you sprint around a corner and the other person's just camping, aiming down sights, you're going to lose 8 times out of 10. So that's huge. Lastly, if we go to the kill streaks, pretty basic. Ballistic vest, just because, you know, it helps a little bit to take an extra bullet or two in gunfights. It kind of helps the team out. Next, we have jamming the radar. If you've ever played against a team that just spams in previous Call of Duty's UAV counter UAV, it's extremely annoying to not be able to use your radar because with higher skill players, they're very good at flash looking at their radar, kind of figuring out a situation, deducing things from looking at the radar. And if they don't have it, it's very frustrating. So that's a big one, another team-oriented kill streak. And then lastly, we have Oracle, probably the best streak in the game. You know you're going to get it because it's a defense kill streak, and it lets you see people through walls. So that's great. Wrapping it up here, Honey Badger, good offensive weapon, very good when you're playing other skilled players.